Hi, welcome. In this video, I want to do part two, follow up by way again, the video put out regarding getting a police canine to release the bite. And again, talking about the balanced dog training idea of things when it comes to using a remote collar. And on my last video, talk about the problems, potential issues and problems associated with using the remote collar that way. And again, talk about how you want to layer in, okay, control and influence into the relationship, not focusing in on a specific moment that way, as it could set up the potential to get redirected on. Okay. In fact, the reason I want to do this follow up video is that you can hear David continue to talk about the remote collar this way and kind of how he was called out when he used it. But again, I want to continue this conversation. Again, just for anyone out there who's, again, having issues like this, just the way in which you want to go about, resolving this while making sure, number one, the issue actually gets resolved properly. And number two, that you don't have bad outcomes through a dog getting redirecting on you. I've seen that happen to people, from a distance, not because I was working with them that way. Years ago, I seen that issue happen. In fact, with a police dog, went right up a guy's arm, went right up a handler's arm, just really fast, chewed up his arm after he, gave the dog a jerk on the choke chain in a certain moment. And looking at that, saying, and again, breaking this down, saying, well, what happened? Like, why did that happen? Is that just the dog's fault? Is that like, what is that? But again, once you start to dial into, you know, these issues in terms of how the dog perceives the person, not beyond just a certain moment being symptomatic of an overall issue in terms of how the person's perceived in the relationship.
But right now he's like, I'm waiting for you to use it.
Okay.
So you're gonna give 4 commands until you have to use it.
Got it.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But if you're consistent with it, then later you don't have to use it.
Okay, so
Again, he's talking about consistent with it, then you don't have to use it. But again, that goes in this whole issue about being in harmony with the dog. But when you talk about this whole balanced dog training idea of things, balanced dog trainers are not dialed into the relationship the way I talk about in terms of the role of influence, being proactive, dialed in, dog state of mind, all of it. I talk through all of that. And that matters, especially when you deal with what I call the 1 percentile dog, the very high drive police caliber dog. Okay. You got to be sharp. Okay. Sharp, not in the sense of aggressive, but really dialed in and really kind of on your game when it comes to, how you're interacting, how you're connecting, making sure that you're in tune with, being aligned with the dog's state of mind properly to make sense to the dog.
so I agree with everything that he said there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, dude. Like, start correcting the dog for not outing. Right? Be consistent about giving the correction. Don't give freebies on it. Shit we preach all the time. Right? Here's why I got like frustrated when I saw that fucking video today. Right?
Okay.
And this is me just like whatever. Like whatever. I'm taking shit personally. Whatever. So we had a video a couple years ago working with a German Shepherd that has resource guarding issues, right? And the dog doesn't drop a fucking ball, right? And I did the exact same thing with a German Shepherd and filmed it and posted it.
Yeah.
Exact same thing, right?
Okay.
And the only difference was this dog was like, because it resource guarded, was like trying to give me way more attitude about it, right? But I still punished for the out. I got the dog to drop it, and then I posted the follow-up of the dog dropping it beautifully.
So this is really interesting here, right? The dog giving him attitude. But what did I just say about the redirecting moment, right? This whole thing about symptomatic, the overall state of the relationship, making sense to the dog and layering in, right? When I say layering in, you'll see again through certain specific interactions, right? Which align it up so that it does make sense to the dog. Okay. It's like having the right conversation through these interactions throughout the relationship where the dog says, this makes sense. And then when you get to this issue about, say, here, the example is about toys, the dog giving them attitude. Well, what does that tell you? Okay. Focusing on, like I said before in the last video, focusing in on certain moments, but those moments that can be a problem. Just like a parent who's like gets annoyed with the example I used with a selfish child getting overly invested in playing video games. And, we all get kind of annoyed with, say, certain things will get on our nerves for whatever reason, right? You'll be like, hey, that really is bothering me. Versus saying, well, okay, that's happening, but could that be kind of symptomatic of a greater issue here? My parenting style, I need to be consistent, okay, throughout. And so when you layer that in, then it makes dealing with whatever the situation is that's like more over the top, easier, right? And it'll kind of make sense to the child. Say, okay, well, I don't like this, but I'm going to agree to it. Recognizing that what the roles and the parenting style making sense versus just, again, I talked about this whole thing with why bad moments could potentially happen. It's like jumping in saying, I'm going to deal with this at the worst time. The dog's investing, you're already not seeing the right way in the relationship. The dog's investing control into an object. And now you're like using the remote collar. And here he's talking about the dog like being very, very disagreeable because the dog's saying, what the heck are you doing? Like, I own the joint. I own you. I own everything else. And now you're focusing on this one thing, but I'm going to challenge you on it, which makes sense. Okay. Because it's like, just think about that. So, you have to consider certain things and things become clear as you start to think about everything. But see, balanced dog training is not about being dialed in the way I talk about. There's so many examples of that. You go watch the videos I've done. They come right out and they even make the statement saying, we don't care about where the dog's looking. You know, it's like this is it should be so obvious. And then you add these bad moments in, or why even as the dog, because you're going into conflict with the dog in that moment, doesn't mean you're gonna fix that either that way. Dog saying, okay, I'll give up in this moment because I'm getting hit with that remote collar, but I still own everything. Okay, but then it can put the stress load on the dog as well. Because if it doesn't make sense, more stress comes on the dog because it's not making sense. It has to be in conjunction with it making sense to the dog. That's why when you use remote collars, you want to make sure that they're part of a proper foundation, okay, a proper process. So anyway, I just want to do a follow up to that because again, here's David talking about his own moment and feeling like unfairly treated, okay, because all the flack he got on social media over.
Beautifully and playing great with me, right?
Right.
Dude, when I posted that video,
it.
like TikTok ignited on me. Like ignited. Where they were just, oh, fucking Bob, this is fucking terrible.
And see, and so we talk about making sense. So this is where you got balanced dog training, out there. And you talk about, he just went through the whole bonker thing, right? And just like, and here's the thing, I went on the podcast quite a while back, went through all the controversies, but just fell on deaf ears with all these trainers because that's the problem. It's like they're entrenched. There's no critical thinking involved. They just keep pushing this stuff forward. And he's wondering, well, why did the social media get on fire because of the dog protest? Well, think about what I'm saying. It's about making sense to the dog, but even the ability to reconcile the reactions properly to the relationship. Being able to sort through all of it in a way that makes sense, that people can make sense of it. That's what matters. So, thanks for watching.